Good morning. I'm Albert. I'm the economics instructor here at ITS Online School. Today we're going to talk about government intervention. The government has several tools at its disposal in order to manipulate the market. Chiefly, we got taxation and also subsidies, quotas, price controls, and regulations. But today we're going to focus on taxation. So what is taxation? Taxation is characterized by a financial charge that is levied by the government in order to increase cost of production. Question, of course, is why would the government want to increase cost of production for products that is produced for consumers, right? And considering there are jobs at stake. Usually we're talking about products that are undesirable, or it generates effects which is not preferable for people that are using it and the society around it. Chiefly, we have examples such as cigarettes and also the all familiar gasoline. So how do we illustrate the effects of taxation? Using this diagram here, what we can see is that using the example of cigarettes, the market is right now at an equilibrium. So what we can see is that with supply and demand here, the equilibrium is price zero, at which the amount of quantity of cigarettes being traded is at Q0. Now, if the government does want to reduce this level of cigarette consumption, what it can do is apply a tax. The tax is usually levied onto producers. And as a result of affecting the producer's costs, it will be represented by moving the supply curve S0. The increase in cost can be illustrated by an upward shift of the supply curve to S1. The shift that I've chosen is a parallel shift that implies that we're using a per unit tax as opposed to an ad valorem tax. After the increase in cost, the producer has no choice but to increase the price that they charge the market in order to compensate for increased cost of production. As a result, consumers will respond by consuming less, and thus an increase in price and a fall in quantity. Aside from this, we also would like to establish what is the amount of tax collected by the government. And to do so, as I said before, I'm using a per unit tax model, meaning the difference between the S1 curve and the S0 curve is the per unit tax charged by the government. Because these two curves are technically parallel, you would expect that at this point of consumption, this is the vertical distance that also represents the tax. By multiplying it with the quantity of consumption, we therefore establish that this entire area is taxes that will be collected by the government. We would also want to find out who is paying the majority of the tax. In order to find out who pays more of the tax, the first thing we need to look for is what is the consumer's tax burden in this case. As you could see, price increased from P0 to P1. This change in price is observed by consumers, and therefore this is the amount of taxation that consumers are responsible for. Ergo, the remaining amount of taxation will be paid by producers. So, what we have learned in a short moment just now is the effect of taxes has on prices and quantity. We also understand now the amount of taxes collected by the government can be shown on the diagram, as well as the burden of taxes shared between consumers and producers. Obviously, this is mostly introductory materials, so there will be a lot more of this when we apply it in the case of market failure. Now, this is a demonstration, so there was not much interaction, but if this was a real lesson, usually it will be followed by questions like these, at which case you, the student, the audience, would be required to tell me the answer. If you're already guessing in your head what is the proper answer to this question, the answer is A. So until next time, I'm Albert at ITS Online. If you're interested to know more about learning online economics with us, contact us.